Sometimes what happens is we focus too much on the oppressed and we don't focus on the oppressor. In the case of Palestine, of course, it's slightly different. We understand the entire context. लेकिन अगर लोगों को समझना है, all I have to say is Kashmir is Palestine. In Kashmir, or rather, everywhere in the subcontinent right now, Islam is the villain. India took the franchise of anti-Muslim hatred and Islamophobia post 9/11. They were finding an opportunity, any opportunity, to declare their war on Islam and eliminate Muslims. And this isn't me saying this. If you read their literature, if you read the RSS literature, RSS is the parent organization of the BJP. If you read their literature, their entire agenda is to ethnically cleanse all minorities. Sirf Musalman ki baat nahi hai. It includes the Buddhists, it includes even Hindus that are of a lower caste. A pan-Hindu nation that stretches beyond the borders of India, beyond Bangladesh, beyond Sri Lanka, beyond Kashmir, beyond Pakistan, beyond Iran.
Taking back Pakistan.
Exactly. As going as far as Saudi Arabia. They call the holy Kaaba in Makkah as Makeshwar Mahadev temple. अब ये सिर्फ पाकिस्तान और कश्मीर की बात नहीं है. That they of course they believe that this entire subcontinent belongs to them. But their expansionist philosophy goes as far as Saudi Arabia, calling the holy Kaaba in Makkah Makeshwar Mahadev temple. देखिए, there are cyber cells inside Kashmir. Cyber cells that monitor everything that happens. You cannot even write an email without the Indian state knowing about it. को बात कौन करेगा? Who is going to organize a protest? Who is going to say anything? Intellectual resistance is as important as armed resistance. देखिए, अगर एक कुर्बानी दे रहा है, another group must be able to explain why. They must be able to explain the ideology. They must be able to explain to the rest of the world and justify the movement that exists. बड़ा important चीज़ है. I think within the Muslim communities that we have right now, there has been a reawakening, particularly since October 7th. Is it for your own nafs? Or are you trying to convey a particular message? If you are trying to convey a particular message and win a particular argument, the first thing you must do is accept that you do not know everything. This is an inspiration. Pakistan could be an inspiration for the rest of the Muslim world and beyond. Be that inspiration. Show the rest of the world what it means to be a Pakistani.
Assalamu alaikum viewers, this is Muhammad Atib, your host from the platform of Promising Peace. Today we have a very special guest in our studio. We have the president of World Kashmir Freedom Movement, and he is also the director of the Justice Foundation. Being an avid debater, since I have been to public speaking forums and debates, the most fascinating thing is that he has recently won a debate at Oxford University Union against Indians on a motion for a Kashmir. And he has completed his education from London University, and later on he pursued international relations, finance, economics, and he has been advocate of the Kashmir issue on multiple various forums, and he is a symbol of resistance himself. I am talking about Dr. Muzammil Ayub Thakkur sahab.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you for having me in the studio today.
Thank you so much, sir. And I am really glad being a Pakistani youth. I would like to welcome you. I would like to salute you that you people are the true meaning of resistance, are the true symbol of passion, the true symbol of dedication. And let's see that what I can take from you, that what I can take from this podcast that can be understood practically in our lives as well. So starting from the very beginning, that what's the basic understanding of Kashmir issue? What is the current definition in current scenario of international relations? How we can describe that what's happening in the Kashmir and what was happening since ages?
There are two answers. One is the short answer, the other is the long answer. In the short answer, we just say it is the same thing as what is happening with Palestine.
Okay.
Sometimes what happens is we focus too much on the oppressed and we don't focus on the oppressor. In the case of Palestine, of course, it's slightly different. We understand the entire context. लेकिन अगर लोगों को समझना है, all I have to say is Kashmir is Palestine and Israel is India.
Simplest definition.
It's the simplest definition.
Simplest definition.
And the reason I say that is because when you see what is happening inside Kashmir, you will realize that the Indian state is using the exact type of occupation, oppression and subjugation against Kashmir the way that Israel has done. But there's one argument that I often make. And that is that Israel have failed and India have succeeded. When Israel moves an inch or a millimeter or an iota in Palestine, or they do anything, we all know about it. Whereas when it comes to India, kisi ko pata hi nahi chalta. Israel have been trying to force settler colonization and demographic change inside Palestine. We've seen it with our own eyes. We see the bulldozers. How many bulldozers have you seen in Kashmir? It's a legitimate question.
I can totally relate with that.
India have, after Article 370 and 35A that everybody spoke about, very little people understood. Essentially, India have legalized settler colonization and demographic change inside Indian-occupied Kashmir. That's the reality that we have right now. Lekin ye bhi baat hai that whether 370 and 35A were removed or not in 2019.
You are talking about Article 370.
Exactly.
You're mentioning that.
Whether it happened or not is irrelevant. The point is we were occupied, we continue to be occupied. There are still human rights violations amounting to an apocalypse inside Indian-occupied Kashmir. It's still going on. Now there is a difference. India have learned from Israel that killing, bullets, showering of rainfire of weapons is just unacceptable. So what they've decided to do is not just change the demography and force settler colonization, but de-Islamization. This is the problem inside Indian-occupied Kashmir now.
Ideological oppression, I can say.
De-Islamization. One thing we've seen is the indoctrination of anti-Muslim hatred. What about the indoctrination of inside Kashmir? What's happening there? The indoctrination of propaganda is one thing that we've seen internationally when it comes to how people are perceived as and what Islam is perceived as. In Kashmir, or rather everywhere in the subcontinent right now, Islam is the villain. India took the franchise of anti-Muslim hatred and Islamophobia post 9/11. They were finding an opportunity, any opportunity, to declare their war on Islam and eliminate Muslims. And this isn't me saying this. If you read their literature, if you read the RSS literature, RSS is the parent organization of the BJP. If you read their literature, their entire agenda is to ethnically cleanse all minorities. Sirf Musalman ki baat nahi hai. It includes the Buddhists. It includes even Hindus that are of a lower caste. That's their agenda. And more than that.
And Sikhs as well, I think.
And Sikhs as well. Even the Christians, last Christmas, I saw exactly, if people read what happened, how the Hindutva Brigade, the right-wing fascist movement supporting the RSS and the BJP, what they did with Christians on Christmas Day itself, we would never do that. The Sikhs would never do that. Nobody does. But it's only for some reason the right-wing extremist, fascist, neo-colonial Hindu brigade that seem to be doing this. And most importantly, when we create the similarities between India and Israel, ye bhi yaad rakhna hai ki why do we feel for the Palestinians? And why do we have so much animosity towards Zionism? It's of course the Muslim identity that is being persecuted. But is that Muslim identity being persecuted just in Palestine? We know that the Zionists have an agenda of a greater Israel. They want Lebanon, they want Syria.
They will expand their boundaries.
And it's not they will, they've declared they are doing, and to the extent they even made the Golan Heights, we know what they're doing in the Golan Heights. They attacked Qatar. This isn't going 50 years ago, just last year, or within this year I think, that they attacked Qatar, inside Qatar. We know that the assassinations that they've done in the UAE, they believe that parts of Saudi Arabia belong to them. Yet nobody, particularly inside Pakistan, let alone the rest of the world, and in Pakistan it is the most important place jahan pe logon ko pata hona chahiye that they are not reducing their ideology just to Kashmir. They believe in Akhand Bharat, a pan-Hindu nation that stretches beyond the borders of India, beyond Bangladesh, beyond Sri Lanka, beyond Kashmir, beyond Pakistan, beyond Iran.
Taking back Pakistan.
Exactly. As going as far as Saudi Arabia. They call the holy Kaaba in Mecca as Makeshwar Mahadev Temple. अब ये सिर्फ पाकिस्तान और कश्मीर की बात नहीं है. That they of course they believe that this entire subcontinent belongs to them. But their expansionist philosophy goes as far as Saudi Arabia, calling the holy Kaaba in Mecca Makeshwar Mahadev Temple. So when you ask me what is the situation right now, it is less about the human rights violations and understanding what the reasoning behind it is. It is the elimination of Muslims, eradication of Muslim identity and Islam, and expansionism of the Hindutva worldview.
I'm literally shocked to see, to listen all of this and to see that what has been happening since ages, since years. And we were just aware about pellet guns and all the things which can be easily seen on the social media or international media. That is also light. That is also very light.
यही तो मसला है that we seem to be, as humans, we've become so desensitized कि हम जब देखते हैं कि कत्ल गारत किसी जगह पे हो रही है या हम बमबारी देखते हैं कि हम कहते हैं कि बेचारा, and then we move on with our day. What we don't understand is the psychological ramifications, number one.
Yes.
Most importantly is आपको समझना है कि whether you are a true पक्का मुसलमान or not, it doesn't matter. That's not my argument. The problem is that उनको लगता है whether you are a good Muslim or a bad Muslim, मुसलमान गुनाहगार है, इसको ख़त्म करना है. So आपकी गैरत कहाँ है? It isn't about whether you're able to do what you want to do, whether you actually do what you want to do within your religious framework, within your own capacity. वो बात नहीं है, आप नमाज पढ़ते हैं या नहीं, वो मेरा मसला नहीं है. They look at the name Muzammil, Muhammad, Atib, they look at any of these names, they say, we need to get rid of these people.
These are terrorists. Exactly. These are not humans. They can be killed easily.
It's interesting that you say the word, these are not humans. If you look at the language that the Nazis used against the Jews, you look at the language that the Zionists used against the Palestinians, वही ज़बान हिंदुत्व इस्तेमाल करते हैं बाकी लोग, cockroaches, subhumans. This is the language that the rats even, infestation, they use the term infestation on Muslims. तो अगर आपको पसंद है अपना दीन या नहीं, अगर आप नमाज पढ़ते हैं या नहीं, is not my problem. The problem is of India. We didn't start this war. We didn't declare that Islam ये करेंगे और हम वो करेंगे. उन लोगों ने कहा,
they started
इस्लाम
this.
को ख़त्म करना है.
Yes. I can clearly see the pain in your eyes that you have been holding since years. And yes, I can see that the concept of Muslim Brotherhood has been killed. We have been desensitized to such level that whatever is happening anywhere in the world, it doesn't affect us anymore. कि अब हम जो है ना उस सब के लिए शायद कबूल कर चुके हैं. We have accepted that whatever is happening in some part of the world, what happens to us, हमारी तो लाइफ चल रही है,
हम सिर्फ दुआ मांगते हैं.
We can just pray. So connecting it to your personal life experiences, your father, the first ever nuclear scientist, nuclear physicist of belonging to the Kashmir. So what are your personal experiences, your family experiences when it comes to the whole happenings in this region, in the valley?
You know, so I was born outside of Kashmir. I was born in exile.
Yes.
And I was born in exile. And then we moved to the UK. My entire upbringing in the UK, ये पता कि मैं मुसलमान हूँ, मैं कश्मीरी हूँ, लेकिन उस ज़माने में लंदन में इतने कश्मीरी था ही नहीं. So there was a confusion about my identity. मैं पाकिस्तानी हूँ, मैं इंडियन हूँ, मैं ब्रिटिश हूँ, मैं हूँ क्या? My language was different, my culture was different, everything was different. So growing up, you have a bit of an identity crisis. लेकिन वालिद साहब के साथ बैठना उठना, देखना वो क्या काम करता था, I understood what Kashmir was. And after he passed away in 2004, we tried to, in fact, we wanted to bury him in Kashmir. Lekin Hindustan, abhi tak, they haven't allowed that because they say that he's a threat to national security. यही बात गिलानी साहब के बारे में, शहीद गिलानी साहब के बारे में वो ही कहते हैं कि he's still a threat to national security. They don't allow people to go to the Qabristan, जनाजा या कोई दुआ मग़फ़िरत पढ़ना है या किसी को. They just don't allow it. That's the situation that we're in.
How cowards they are, how much fearful they are.
लेकिन यही तो बात है ना, वो इतना डरते हैं कि हमें क्यों पता नहीं है कि हमारा ताकत कितना है. Yes. I often give the example what happened in May when India launched Operation Sindoor. We won, of course, Pakistan won. Lekin I think that Pakistan Awam didn't realize how strong Pakistan was. I would go so far as to say that the army, the navy, and the air force, even probably they didn't realize how powerful they were and how weak India is. You have windows of opportunities that very infrequently come by, and you have to take those opportunities as quickly as possible to discredit India, to showcase the horrendous atrocities that they commit, not just on the people of Kashmir, not just on inside Pakistan, the terrorism they perform in Pakistan, lekin apne logon ke upar wo kya karte hain. So that was my upbringing to realize what was happening inside Kashmir. And then I had a chance to travel to Kashmir for a few years. Thoda time guzara wahan pe. जब बुरहान वानी शहीद हुए 2016 में, उसके बाद I couldn't go back. But as it stands right now, India, they pursue anybody that talks about Kashmir. I can't talk to my own family because जो भी मैं काम करता हूँ बरतानिया में या UN में या OIC में, my family face consequences for that. I haven't spoken to my family in years. I haven't been able to, वो तो दूर की बात कि मैं जा सकता हूँ या नहीं, बात भी नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि डर है कि हिंदुस्तान स्टेट वो सुन रही बात या वो रेड. देखिए दिल्ली में recently there was a blast. For some reason, my name was dragged into it. For some reason, I don't know why. They raided my entire village. सिर्फ एक घर नहीं, दो घर नहीं, the entire village they raided. और फिर आपको पता है कि फिर क्या करते हैं औरतों के साथ और मर्दों के साथ, बच्चों के साथ. I have cousins that are still languishing in jail since 2019. Still languish in jail. मैंने कोई बात
6 years.
Yeah. मैंने बात की in the United Nations about Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, Jay Shankar, ये सब जो ऊपर top brass of the Indian government. I said that they need to be convicted and tried in the Hague, in the International Criminal Courts. A week later, they killed my uncle inside Kashmir. A week later. So this is the situation that people like myself are facing. लेकिन ये बड़ी छोटी बात है because we still live in privilege. I can still live in the United Kingdom. I can still go and do my work. I can still go outside. लेकिन जो लोग आप सोचे कि वो हमारे पीछे जो बरतानिया, अमेरिका, बाकी European या Western countries that we're based in, that's what they're doing to us. In fact, last year I suffered 2 broken ribs after giving a lecture क्योंकि 3 Indian thugs, they decided to say Jai Shri Ram and all this nonsense and decided to attack me. Again, ये बड़ी छोटी बात है, but you have to understand the bigger picture that if they can do this on the streets of London, they can assassinate Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada. आपको पता है कि Justin Trudeau he said that there's credible intelligence. They had the intelligence, they had the information that the Indian state was behind this. ये कोई random attack नहीं था. They assassinated Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada. These spies that were caught in Qatar, the spies that were caught in Germany, the attacks. I mean, we know the terrorism that is being perpetuated inside Pakistan is being launched by India. आप सोचे कि कश्मीर के अंदर सूरत हालात क्या होंगे. आप सोचे कि मुसलमानों के हालात क्या है in mainland India.
I cannot even imagine. You mentioned Article 370. Indian media and government was very much vocal about it. In fact, they made a movie. I remember that they released a movie regarding this Article 370. And what is this? The irony is that we don't know the realities, all the background that has been set before the approval of Article 370 in the Indian Assembly. And as a youth, we don't know, we are not well aware about the sensitivity of the issues. So can you please elaborate that what is this Article 370?
Article 370 एक academic discussion हो सकती है, लेकिन short में Article 370 was something to convince Kashmiris, also for the international world, that UN resolutions are still pending. ये अभी disputed territory है. 35A guaranteed our land rights, यानी कि कोई non-Kashmiri वहाँ पे नहीं आ सकता है. तो जब मैंने कहा कि there is legalized settler colonization, this is how they legalize it, by removing that. लेकिन बात ये भी है, उससे पहले भी बिहारी
illegal भी हो रहा था,
गुजराती थे, ऐसे ही लोग वहाँ, मतलब शहीद गिलानी साहब ने कहा था that there are already 500,000 non-Kashmiris living inside Kashmir. And I personally have met those non-Kashmiris जिनके पास state subject भी था, जो मेरे पास भी नहीं था, लेकिन उनके पास था. So all India did was legalize settler colonization and demographic change. That is what the 370 and 35A basically meant to us.
So how it changed the liberation movement and what effects it produced?
Now this is an interesting question because 2019, it wasn't just because of 370 and 35A, but the way that they shut down Kashmir, blanket ban, no information, no news, nothing for months. But is had tak that, people weren't able to communicate with their families. I remember a case where a man, he couldn't get in touch with his fiancée, Mangetar. 4 months later, when communications opened, he found out that she had died. For whatever reason, but she had died. 4 months, he thought he was still married. A boy couldn't find he couldn't communicate with his mother. And one day, by accident, he saw a news chat, on the news, he saw that his mother was on the news. She was just walking by and he saw that. I remember case studies where women were burying their A woman was trying to go to the hospital, and as usual, the army wouldn't let her go. And she gave birth on the side of the road. And she lost the baby because she needed medical care. They wouldn't let her. There were cases where you couldn't bury your relatives, anybody that needed burial, to go to the Qabristan. Ijazat hi nahi thi. People were burying their loved ones in the back garden. In the garden, they were burying them. Milk was banned.
This is what we don't know.
Milk was banned. Medicine was banned. Healthcare was banned. Food was banned. Everything was shut down. But aap soche ki when you have a situation, media was banned. All the media houses were shut down. Communications to alag baat hai, there was no communication whatsoever. In fact, WhatsApps, if you're offline for a certain period of time, they deactivate WhatsApp for you. Ye kisi ko pata nahi tha, sirf Kashmiri ko pata hai. Because it happened to us. We've had the longest internet shutdown in history. Anywhere in the world, you can't compete with Kashmir. That was the situation.
Not even in Palestine.
Not even Palestine. 8-year-old children were taken from them in the middle of the night from their mother's lap and arrested. Jo bhi leader hamare tha, arrested. Jo bhi journalist tha, arrested. Jo bhi civil society ka tha, arrested. Jo bhi bada businessman tha, arrested. Jo bhi imam tha, arrested. They took our entire leadership from A to Z, from top to bottom, so that ki koi organize na kare a resistance. When I mean resistance, I mean going to the streets to protest. Jo basic human right hai kisi ka. Let alone stone belting dur ki baat hai. Just to organize protesting. There is dam hua. It was so much suffocation inside Kashmir. There was fear. I cannot even describe to you the type of fear that existed inside Kashmir. Just imagine that you cannot move, you cannot breathe. Everything is banned. Information is banned. You don't know what's going on. Jin logon ke saath Article 370 or 35 ho raha tha, unko pata hi nahi tha, hame pata tha. Imagine the fear psychosis inside Kashmir. And imagine when they arrest children as young as 8 years old, and our leadership all the way up to 80 years old. And they put them in jail hundreds, maybe even thousands of miles in various parts of India, not inside Kashmir. Parents cannot afford to go and travel every other day to
meet their loved
Karnataka,
ones,
to West Bengal to meet their loved ones. It's simply just not possible to do that regularly. They broke the spirit and the spine of Kashmiris. They beat them down to such an extent कि कोई आवाज नहीं उठा पा रहा है. I mean, there are still pockets. Tehreek, you cannot kill the Tehreek.
You cannot kill the resistance. We have seen that in Palestine. We have seen in Kashmir as well that if one brother or one youngster is being martyred, 1,000 others are ready to come on the streets and chant the slogans and give a tough time to the Indian forces that we are ready for the liberation movement.
Exactly.
We are ready for the resistance. And you cannot stop that. You cannot enforce to stop us.
Yeah, and we have, of course, many people have been killed. Many people are languishing in jail. There is also fear psychosis. Anybody that even... There are cyber cells inside Kashmir. Cyber cells that monitor everything that happens. You cannot even write an email without the Indian state knowing about it. Baat kaun karega? Who is going to organize a protest? Who is going to say anything? That is the level of fear psychosis. Lekin, that doesn't mean that the resistance doesn't exist, be it armed or be it intellectual. That intellectual warfare still exists inside Kashmir. If we receive information, if we know anything or understand anything, it's because people inside Kashmir somehow are able to transfer that information that is banned. Bear in mind, it's banned. When India says 3 houses were accidentally demolished, we know that the information is that 12 houses were purposefully demolished. We get that information. Of course, then we have to appeal to the United Nations. We have to make representation in different places to make sure that our voices are heard. Lekin baat ye hai is that the suffocation inside Kashmir is so much so that the burden of responsibility now lays on every single Muslim in the world that hears our voice. If they are able to hear us, it is their responsibility to speak about us. Because हम बात नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो आप कहाँ हैं? अवामी पाकिस्तान कहाँ हैं? मुसलमान लोग कहाँ हैं? जब बाकी लोगों के बारे में आप बात कर सकते हैं, एक्टिवेट हो सकते हैं, मीम्स बना सकते हैं, ट्वीट्स बना सकते हैं, यूट्यूब वीडियोस बना सकते हैं, कश्मीर के लिए क्यों नहीं?
I am feeling that burden that you have been stating, that where is that burden that lies on each and every Muslim individual. Coming towards your responsibilities, your representation on international platforms, we have always heard that UN is going to implement some kind of resolution, UN is going to implement this and that, and we haven't seen any action. What kind of effect that resolution has brought so far till now?
The important thing is that हमें पता है कि this is a moral cause. We know we are on the haqq. We don't need any UN resolutions to tell us कि हम सही है या हम गलत है. Same for the Palestinians, same for any occupied territory. लेकिन all of these countries that claim to be the cradle of civilizations, they claim to be the home of law, of international law, of moral and ethical clarity. ये उनके लिए एक चीज़ है that we can beat them with their own stick. जो वो law, कानून वो बाकी लोगों के ऊपर वो ज़बरदस्ती से लगाते हैं, at least in the same way we can use their own arguments against them. That is the purpose of the United Nations, for us at least. क्योंकि हमें पता है हमें क्या करना है. We know that we have moral clarity. They don't, clearly. So the only purpose of the United Nations, these organizations, is to show them a mirror and to show them the hypocrisy that they are spewing to the world. The UN resolutions, unfortunately, who is going to implement them? Unless there is political will from America, from European countries and other nations, it's not going to happen.
And the stakeholders involved themselves,
Exactly.
Pakistan and India.
Exactly.
When they are not even ready to sit and decide something.
The funny thing is that Pakistan often, there's a joke inside Kashmir that we made many years ago that everybody knows that this is an international dispute. So when the United Nations tells India this is an international dispute, India says no, it's a bilateral dispute. And when Pakistan says, ठीक है, अगर bilateral dispute है, let's negotiate. India says, कि no, it's an internal issue. And when Kashmiri say, चलो ठीक है, अगर एक internal issue हमारे साथ भी negotiate करे, जैसे कि कोई मसला ही नहीं है.
Security issue.
कोई security हमारा मसला है, आपको इसमें पढ़ना नहीं है. India have never agreed to be sitting at the negotiating table. Pakistan have tried time and again. Other countries have tried time and again. We've in the times of Desmond Tutu, even in the times of Nelson Mandela, we suggested that let these people, they're very impartial. I mean, you cannot get anybody better than Nelson Mandela or Sir Desmond Tutu.
Yeah.
So let them be the impartiality people that are impartial that can negotiate a resolution for Kashmir according to the UN Security Council. India, as usual, they don't agree. So what are we left with? When we are the ones with moral clarity, when we are the ones that are being oppressed and subjugated and occupied, and nobody else is coming to support us and help us and liberate us.
You are on your own.
Exactly. फिर हमें मत कहे कि हम violent हैं. The burden of responsibility in terms of violence is not on us. It is on the state.
Yes.
They have the power. Violence is not perpetuated from the oppressed. It is perpetuated by the state. And it is state-sanctioned, state-sponsored terrorism that happens inside Kashmir. Nothing less than that. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
So how do you see the resistance which is armed? How do you see that?
Alhamdulillah, they're on the ground. They do what they can do. But we are very much dependent on the representation that we can give them. If we do not own them, if we do not represent them, if we do not give them some representation outside, भाई वो शहीद हो रहे हैं हमारे लिए. Let me tell you also one very important thing that maybe people of Pakistan don't know. The question is, what are they prepared to die for? Is it nationalism?
No.
Is it secularism?
No.
Is it the state of Pakistan as it is? It is to defend the Muslim identity.
Muslim identity.
We are fighting on the front lines for Pakistan. Baat yaad rakhein. If you don't know anything that is happening on your eastern border, or you feel somewhat protected from there, देखिए western border पे आपको पता है कितनी तकलीफ हो रही है वहाँ पे. And who is there to protect you? You have to do it yourself. On the eastern side, Kashmir is the buffer zone between India and Pakistan. Kashmiris are the ones for the last 78 years that have been fighting on behalf of Pakistan. For what? Not secularism, not liberalism. In the words of Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani Sahab, marhum, Shaheed, Islam ki nisbat se, Islam ki ta'alluq se, hum Pakistani hai, Pakistan hamara hai. Don't cut half of it and say hum Pakistani hai.
That video still gives us goosebumps that hum Pakistani hai, Pakistan hamara hai.
Lekin,
and people are
Islam ki nisbat se,
Islam ki
ta'alluq se, Islam ki muhabbat se, hum Pakistan. This is what we are fighting for. Not secularism, not nationalism, not a state of Pakistan, but something that was envisioned by Qaid Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Allama Iqbal. Yes. They understood, they created Pakistan solely for the reason to protect the Muslim identity. उनको पता था क्या होने वाला है. और फिर कश्मीरी लोगों के साथ भी वही हुआ. We knew it. And we warned the Muslims inside India कि आपके साथ भी यही होने वाला है. और हुआ, हो रहा है. That is why we fight. So when we talk about the armed resistance, understand what it is that they're fighting for, and understand that we should be indebted to them, that their blood is sacred blood. Their work is sacred work, and we have to be able to represent them to the best of our abilities, irregardless कि दुनिया क्या कहे. देखिए, दुनिया कहती है कि हमास के बारे में, दुनिया कहती है कि मिसाल के तौर पर अहमद शारा जोला इन सीरिया, एक दिन 24 hours before एक टेररिस्ट था, 24 घंटे के बाद he was the leader of Syria, meeting with Donald Trump. तो हमें मत सुनाए कि कौन आतंकवादी है, कौन उग्रवादी है, कौन क्या है. हमें पता है कि हम कौन हैं, हम क्या कर रहे हैं. Do not take dictation from India, do not take dictation from the West.
Now I come towards the intellectual warfare that you have been fighting since ages. Your father has been recognized as first ever nuclear physicist. The irony that I feel that we still talk somehow about the armed resistance that has been happening in different parts of the world, but we don't prepare ourselves for the intellectual warfare that is much needed, that diplomacy which is needed, that international relationships that are needed. We as a Muslims are very weak on this intellectual capacity and this intellectual level. So how do you feel that it's important when you are into the resistance? You are doing speeches, you are doing rallies, you are doing armed resistance. What is the importance of intellectual resistance? How much important these people are who are intellectually sound?
Intellectual resistance is as important as armed resistance. देखिए, अगर एक कुर्बानी दे रहा है, another group must be able to explain why. They must be able to explain the ideology. They must be able to explain to the rest of the world and justify the movement that exists. ये बड़ा important चीज़ है. I think within the Muslim communities that we have right now, there has been a reawakening, particularly since October 7th. लोग पढ़ रहे हैं. ज़माना था, in my day, I don't know how old you are, लेकिन मेरे ज़माने में जब डॉक्यूमेंट्री निकलती थी, डॉक्यूमेंट्री 2.5 घंटे के लिए होती थी. 2.5 घंटे. आराम से फिर सोशल मीडिया आ गया, Facebook and these YouTubes, 1 hour. Then another platform like Twitter, 2.5 minutes. Then another platform like Instagram, 1.5 minutes. Then another platform like TikTok, 30 seconds. लोगों की वो जो attention span है वो बड़ा short हुआ है. So we have to do two things. Number one is we have to understand content in its entirety. We need to read, we need to study. But more importantly is we need to be able to condense all of that information into 30 seconds, into 1 minute, into 1.5 minutes. लोगों के पास time नहीं है. And we have to accept ये एक reality है आज के लिए. ये एक reality है. You cannot expect a student, somebody from Gen Z, to sit down and watch something for 2.5 hours. नहीं देखेगा. 2.5 minutes, शायद देखेगा. So that is what we have to try and do. When we talk about intellectual class, intellectualism changes over time. We sometimes think that somebody speaks in a particular way, somebody with an accent, he uses very profound technical terminology. ये intellectualism नहीं है, इसको vocabulary कहते हैं. Intellectualism वो चीज़ है कि that you have critical thinking, that you can assess things from a particular perspective, you can understand things from all angles, and then you can analyze and produce a written document or a video or a testimonial or a speech.
Book literature.
कुछ भी, that you can produce something. That is intellectualism. Even a speech, that's fine as well. Lekin, do not be confused. Or I'm saying this as my example, and I speak on behalf of everybody that has an accent or uses big words. Ye intellectualism nahi hai. If I use English language to my benefit, that is not intellectualism. Intellectualism and being clever or smart or whatever terminology you want to use stems from learning. You learn, you study, you understand. Ratta nahi marna hai. You understand and then you produce something of your own. Varna, agar ratta marna hai, to fir I can quote something from here, put it in ChatGPT or nikal gaya. Create original thinking. Original thinking. Something that people haven't discussed before. Something that people may not have thought before. Be thought-provoking. That is something that we're lacking. And this may not necessarily be about Kashmir right now, but generally speaking for the Muslims around the world. After October 7th, जिस स्पीड से इजरायली प्रोपेगेंडा निकल रही थी, उससे ज़्यादा स्पीड से हम उसको डिबंक कर रहे थे. That required people, the public, not states, it required the public to read, study, research, produce information.
And then advocate.
And then advocate. It takes time to do it. But people were able to do it fast. Ye jo academics hai, they take years to produce books. We don't need books. We need to counter propaganda. And we know propaganda is on social media and on the mainstream media. So that is where we have to start focusing on. That the depths of intellectualism and the direction that is going in has changed over the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Every decade it changes. And we have to be up to date. No longer these think tanks that are producing information and hold these conferences or seminars, and then these big organizations that hold conferences. Those days are gone. Those days are gone, my friend.
Yes.
And so the people of Pakistan, don't consider that you need to go into these areas of expertise. What you need to do is study original literature and then create original content.
That is the endorsement that I have been looking for, that coming from a person who is himself a graduate of an international graduate, an international student, who has himself studied a lot and made a sacrifice by going there and pursuing his studies. Now I am connecting it towards a question which holds very importance for me, that I have been an avid debater and a very active public speaker, and I have been to many forums of public speaking. When I was reading about your introduction, you recently won a debate, a prestigious debate forum, international forum, actually, Oxford University Debate Union. How was that experience, and what actually happened there?
It's interesting that you're talking about this, especially in the context that in the last 48 hours, there was an India-Pakistan debate, and India once again lost. Their speakers, their debaters didn't turn up. The experience of debating was profound. But there's one thing that people need to understand and remember. And I hope that anybody that is a debater takes this advice as well. For those that aren't debating, that want to go into it, listen to this. And those that are debating and think of themselves as elite debaters should also listen to this. You are only as good as the team you have around you. If there is no shame in asking for help, none whatsoever. Right? Ilm hasil karna hai to fir Cheen bhi jao. This is the words of the Prophet ﷺ, that if you need to attain knowledge, go to China even. So what is the problem in attaining knowledge from my friend, from my brother, from my elders, from my youngsters? I have no problem in that. I still learn. I don't understand social media. I get people that are much younger than me, people that are young enough to be my children. I tell them to do the social media. Meri bas ki baat hi nahi hai. I have no problem in accepting it. Agar koi kahe ke mera ego hurt hota hai. So what? Then why are you doing what you are doing? Why are you debating? For what purpose? First, understand what is the purpose of debating. Is it for your own nafs? Or are you trying to convey a particular message? If you are trying to convey a particular message and win a particular argument, the first thing you must do is accept that you do not know everything. That is wisdom.
Yes.
And that's wisdom. But to be wise is then to find the information and ask for the help. That experience, it took, people may say that I just stood up and I went and I spoke. No, I prepared for months. I prepared for months because in the beginning we knew that Jaishankar, who is the Minister of External Affairs, was going to be there. We knew that Major Gaurav Arya, who was a former military man and an avid speaker and public speaker in the international news circuit, very dangerous man. We knew that Major Gaurav Arya was going to be there. Aditya Raj Gol is a Kashmiri Hindu, also a journalist, very well versed, and a rabid dog. And also Vivek Agnihotri. You mentioned the film about Article 37. He made the Kashmir Files, a purely propaganda piece that the people saw, that the international world saw. These were the 4 people that were originally supposed to come.
I can feel the heat that you were feeling at that moment.
It was profound. It was intense. At that time that we were thinking that we were going to be up against these 4 people, particularly an external minister who regardless of whether he is Indian or not, regardless of whether he is a Muslim or not, but in his tenure, he has been very effective for his country. So a person can feel a little bit intimidated that Jaishankar, and it's not just one, then you have all of these other
other established names.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, that, and this is not me saying this, Jaishankar pulled out after Khwaja Asif Saab. He was supposed to be debating as well, and Khwaja Asif Saab pulled out because Jaishankar pulled out for whatever reason. But the interesting thing is that Vivek Agnihotri, Major Gaurav Arya, Aditya Raj Kaul, on record, pulled out of the Oxford debate because I was going to be there. They didn't want to debate me. So on the one side, I had prepared so much. But on the other side, these three Indians were not prepared to debate one Muzammil against those three. They were not prepared. So alhamdulillah, kabhi-kabhi ye bhi hota hai that you may feel fear or you may be antagonized or intimidated. But so are your enemies. And three of them were not prepared to compete or debate one of me. Bahut badi baat hai. But alhamdulillah, we still won that debate. When I walked into that hall, majority of the audience were Indians. Majority. I could feel the anger, the animosity, the hatred. I could feel it in that room. They tried to interrupt me when I started to speak, and I shut them down. I was prepared to lose because I knew that
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I was very prepared. We won, surprisingly. I was shocked. I was more shocked than anybody else. But at the end of the debate, Indians were coming up to me and they were saying that we've heard the Indian narrative. We've heard the Pakistani narrative. We've never heard the Kashmiri narrative. And they voted, Indians voted in favor of me, of my argument, simply because the Kashmiri narrative was pure. We did it with akhlaq. We did it with a dalil. We did it with intellect.
Argument.
With argument. We didn't shout. We didn't scream. We didn't say, oh, you people are bajit. We didn't do any of that. We did it with class. And that's why we won. We showed akhlaq.
It's a very famous quote in public speaking that rather raising your voice, raise your arguments.
Exactly.
So I can feel that you actually won that specific debate, even the hall full of animosity, full of enemies, you still won that debate because of your intellectual capacity, because of the readiness, because of the grind that you did to yourself, that I am going to face my enemy and I am going to beat him, knock him off, just because of my preparation, the preparation that I have been doing since ages.
Exactly. I mean, it's my entire life story. It's every Kashmiri's life story. It was a burden on my shoulders that how am I going to effectively represent the people of Kashmir? That is a huge burden of responsibility. And then the burden of knowing that who my opposition is going to be. But most importantly, the other thing that one of the reasons why we won is because, and I keep on repeating this, the more that we try to emulate our religion and our prophet that gave us guidelines, in terms of our demeanor,
Alhamdulillah,
of how to speak, even to your enemy, of how to behave, even to your most hated person. It changes when we are soft. Obviously, we don't have to be soft all the time. You have to be able to assess the room, assess the audience, and most importantly, assess your opposition of what they need. You know, when you have a team of people, you may know this, as many other people, team leaders know this as well, that some people, aggression works for them to motivate them. And some people, बड़े प्यार से उनके साथ पेश आना है क्योंकि वो aggression नहीं चलती है. So assessment is extremely important. It isn't about what you know. It is about what you can assess in that moment and how you can adapt. That is the most important thing.
Knowing your audience.
Exactly.
Knowing your audience.
And adapting.
Okay. While you are sitting currently in Pakistan, what are your views about Pakistan and its role in this whole Kashmir scenario?
Pakistan have been the only friend to Kashmir since this issue has happened. Irregardless of jo log naare marte hain, whether independent Kashmir, whether it's pro-Pakistan, that's the point. Pakistan has tolerated all narratives. That is a great favor to the people of Kashmir, that they can accommodate all of these narratives. Now, if you look at the Indian side, they accommodate nothing. Very brutal. So we're thankful to the state of Pakistan, most importantly to the people of Pakistan. Now, the role of Pakistan has been multiple. They have been our moral friends. They have been our legal friends. They've gone to the United Nations for us. They fought wars for us, my God. I mean, which nation fights a war? I mean, we didn't see anybody fight a war for the Palestinians. Who came? Who fought for the Palestinians? Nobody. But Pakistan has fought wars for Kashmir. So we're very thankful for that as well. But there are windows, very small windows of opportunity that come over time that need to be exploited. And I feel that as a message from a Kashmiri, be it from the youth or be it from an academic or be it from a resistance, representing all of those people, is that to take on board Kashmiris at the right time, in the right places. Okay? Internationally, the embassies have a role. We were told that the Pakistani embassy is an embassy for Kashmir. Then they should do the work for people of Kashmir. And if they can't, it's okay. The embassies have huge amount of work to do. तो फिर Kashmiri को accommodate कर ले. Let us do the work from there. Give us the space to do it. Open the doors for us. Let us do the work that the state shouldn't be doing. बहुत ऐसे काम है that need to be done behind closed doors, that doesn't need the name of Pakistan. हमें करने दो. कश्मीरी को करने दो. आम कश्मीरी. आज़ाद कश्मीरी को करने दो. आम पाकिस्तानी को करने दो. Let anybody do it. There is so much work to be done. And most importantly, the entire burden of responsibility cannot be on the state of Pakistan. It cannot. It's not fair. You have problems on the western border. You have problems on the eastern border. You have terrorism being perpetuated inside Pakistan by India. You now have Afghanistan that are trying to sabotage Pakistan. Relations with America and Europe, and so many things are happening. Pakistan is being, the attempt to suffocate Pakistan is coming from every angle, and Pakistan still survives. It still flourishes.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So that burden of responsibility, when people say Pakistan, the state of Pakistan has done what it's done. Aapne kya kiya, mere bhai? Aapne kya kiya? What did you do for Pakistan? There's a famous phrase that people know, that it is not what your country has done for you, it is what you have done for your country. तो आप बताएं कि आप लोगों ने, as an individual, as institutions, as organizations, as think tanks, as media houses, as students, as academics, आप लोगों ने क्या किया कश्मीर के लिए, कश्मीर आवाम के लिए, कश्मीर तहरीक के लिए, at any level? What did you do? Where are the memes that you created in May? The meme war that Pakistan performed
Actually
was what won the narrative internationally. I know it because I live there. You won the war not because, and I say this with respect to ISPR, but it was won, the narrative was won by the children of Pakistan that created memes.
Gen Z, you can see.
They won it. So, but why didn't you do that for Kashmir? The academics that are speaking about Indo-Pak relations and how to better it and how economics is important and what's happening in Afghanistan, जब आपको इतना इल्म है और इतना access है, Kashmir ke liye nahi, kyun nahi? And this isn't because I'm Kashmiri and therefore do it for me. I'm saying this in the context of Pakistan, the sovereignty of Pakistan, the safety of Pakistan, the success of Pakistan. There is no success, there is no future of Pakistan unless the issue of Kashmir is solved. The route of peace, the path to peace for the entire subcontinent and beyond goes through Kashmir. You solve Kashmir, you have peace, prosperity, and success for everybody, even for the Indians, despite what we may think about them. But you solve that issue and you will bind India within its own confines. They came when Bangladesh was liberated from Sheikh Hasina. Everybody celebrated. At least nobody had a problem, except one country. Who was that country? India. Unko takleef hai. Why?
Because she was a puppet. Because she was a puppet.
Exactly. So understand that they're doing the same thing in Nepal, in Sri Lanka. These are their attempts. So what should we be doing as Pakistanis and Pakistan? Strengthening ourselves with our neighbors. Making sure that Hindutva ideology is not going to go beyond their borders. It is not going to influence. So a lot of the times when I speak to Pakistanis, they say, Hindustan kya kar sakte hain? Well, do you not remember Kulbhushan Yadav? He was caught. You don't remember Abhinandan? They're openly declaring, these aren't secrets I'm telling you. They are openly declaring कि Pakistan hamara hai. And they refer to Azad Kashmir as POK. They say कि just the other day, they were talking about Sindh. They were saying कि Sindh bhi ek zamane Hindu.
Balochistan.
So where is your ghira? When are you going to prevent this? Because right now you have a knife to your neck. The Kashmiris were bleeding out. But now you have a knife to your neck. And they are going to do this. They want to do this. They proved it in May. Operation Sindoor was their first attempt.
It was just a highlight.
Exactly.
Just a highlight.
Maybe it was even premature, but they showed that this is what's going to happen. So Pakistan, the people of Pakistan need to fix the ideologies, need to fix the narrative that they have from now. They need to be prepared from now, not just militarily. That's the army's job, and politically, that's the government's job. I'm talking about everything else. The narrative war, the intellectual warfare that's about to happen, the legal warfare. Legal war, what we call is lawfare. That needs to be focused on as well.
So, do you think that Pakistan has sold out Kashmir?
If the Kashmiris themselves are not saying Pakistan has sold out Kashmir, how dare any Pakistani say it? How dare any... If we're not saying it, then why do you say it? There are cyclical events that happen in time where Pakistan has to be on the front foot and sometimes on the back foot, where they can be open and overt, and sometimes they have to do things behind closed doors and covert. वो एक बात है. The issue that many people inside Indian occupied Kashmir have right now, because they don't understand Pakistan from the prism of a Pakistani. They understand it from an oppressed person. I understand Pakistan because I come to Pakistan. I live outside. I understand things.
You have seen the people, that how much
Exactly.
love they have for the Kashmir, for the
Exactly.
resistance movement, what respect they have.
Exactly. But for the people inside Indian occupied Kashmir that were expecting in 2019 for the army to walk in and take over Kashmir, they were expecting a war. Jab wo bhi nahi hua, when we saw what happened in May, we thought this is the right time. This is the time that Pakistan can completely obliterate the Indian occupation inside Indian occupied Kashmir. That didn't happen. I can understand why. But when you have a knife to your neck and you are bleeding out, you don't have the time to be patient. You cannot see that the person that is trying to save you, uske bhi kuch takleef hai. You want to be saved immediately. And the risk is that if the people of Pakistan leave the state now, if the people of Pakistan do not step up their game, and they don't take a role and responsibility of advocating for the people of Kashmir, showing support for the people of Kashmir, the people of Kashmir are going to become alienated. You will marginalize the people of Kashmir. And that is something that's dangerous. So it isn't about whether the state of Pakistan has sold Kashmir. The question is, have the people sold Kashmir or not?
No.
Because I see people saying that we need to have better relations with India. When I used to come to Pakistan a few years ago, I don't know now, I haven't really gone to the market, I used to see Indian products. आप BDS कर सकते हैं फ़लस्तीन के लिए.
Yes.
लेकिन कश्मीर के लिए नहीं. You can't stop watching Indian films. You can't stop buying Indian products. तो आप स्टेट की बात ना करें. आप अपनी बात करें.
This is
आप
the
लोगों ने क्या
hypocrisy.
किया?
This is the hypocrisy that I have been observing since ages, since years, in the people of specifically Gen Z era, or people belonging to millennials, that we have been doing this. We are ready to upload a status. We are ready to chant some slogans, but we are not ready to make actual sacrifices that at least we can do for our Kashmiri brothers and sisters. So coming towards the last few questions, I would like to ask that what different opinions are existing right now among common Kashmiris, that how much long this issue has been, and who holds the actual responsibility of all of this, that since years you people have been suffering, but it's still there is no solution and there is no hope. It's still in coming days. Actually, I see that very hardly in near future.
When we talk about the responsibility, one of the first things that I want to mention about responsibility is who owns this Tehreek in terms of who represents it. It is the All Parties Hurriyat Conference. It was Gilani Sahab, Shaheed Gilani Sahab, it was Shaheed Sehrai Sahab, and now it is Masrat Alam, who languishes in jail. It is Qasim Faktu, who languishes in jail. It is Asya Andrabi, who languishes in jail. It is Shabir Shah. It is Yasir Malik, who is now on death row inside India.
Yes.
It is all of this leadership that have been completely sidelined. You will not see any leaders inside Indian occupied Kashmir anymore. They've been completely either murdered, obliterated, or in jail. So we have the All Parties Hurriyat Conference that are based for the rest of the world, that represent the Hurriyat Conference, the resistance inside Kashmir. They are based in Azad Kashmir, and their offices are there and in Islamabad, Pakistan. Those are the people that are responsible for the Tehreek. And of course, then there are a few of us in the diaspora that are doing some work. And then ultimately the responsibility lies with the people of Pakistan. Not the state, again, it's not the state of Pakistan. The state of Pakistan knows what it needs to do. They're not going to consult with little me. They'll consult with All Parties Hurriyat Conference. They'll consult with themselves. They'll understand geopolitics from a different angle that is better for them. They'll do it according to the necessity of that time, something maybe we don't understand. लेकिन जो हमारे ताकत में है, वो तो कर ले. इतना तो हम कर सकते हैं.
Yes.
So responsibility किसकी है? आपकी है, मेरी है, आप लोगों की है, हर किसी का है. जिस तरीके से हमने वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी उठाया फ़लस्तीनी लोगों के लिए, यमन के लिए, सीरिया के लिए, रोहिंग्या के लिए, बाकी ममालिकों के लिए, why not for Kashmir? Why not for Kashmir? कभी कभी मैं सोचता हूँ that are we not Muslim enough for you? Are we not Pakistani enough for you? यार मतलब गिलानी साहब, हर कोई बंदा कश्मीर के अंदर जब वो कहता है कि हम पाकिस्तानी है, पाकिस्तान हमारा है, उसको पता है कि इसका अंजाम क्या है. जब शहीद होते हैं, we wrap ourselves in the green and white flag of Pakistan. जो
actually
जिसको आप कदर नहीं करते हैं.
People actually raise them.
Exactly. We raise the flags in protest, knowing that we're going to be shot. When we die, we are wrapped in that flag. आप लोग अपनी आज़ादी को कदर नहीं करते हैं. हम कदर करते हैं क्योंकि हमें पता है कि what occupation really means. So we need to really have a discussion with the youth and the other people today, Gen Z, millennials, others, that are able to work for Palestine, that are able to work for the Rohingya, that are able to work for different cases around the world, for Muslims and even non-Muslim cases. And we need to understand, what is it about Kashmir that doesn't move you, that doesn't affect you? What is it? Do you think that we're somebody other? We are more Pakistani than you.
Yes.
We are much more Pakistani than you.
In fact, Pakistani cricket team, whenever wins, we see that people are coming into the street, coming onto the streets
inside
of Kashmir and chanting slogans that Pakistan Zindabad and celebrating, actually celebrating.
लेकिन ये भी बात है, at what risk? At what? This is why I say आप अपनी आज़ादी की कदर नहीं करते. We know what the risk is to say जीवे जीवे Pakistan. We know what that risk is. Nobody else seems to understand it. So what is it? Don't otherize us. In the same way that you consider Sindh to be a part of Pakistan, you consider Punjab to be a part of Pakistan, Balochistan, KPK, Azad Kashmir, उसी तरीके से ये समझ ले कि ये आपका हिस्सा है जिसको हिंदुस्तान ने कब्जा. It is not just Indian occupied Kashmir. It is Indian occupied Pakistan.
So I can literally see the emotions in your eyes, and it's not just a podcast, not just a conversation, but I can feel the respect that you have for Pakistan, that you have for Azadi, the concept of freedom that you have. Now, being a Pakistani youngster, being a Pakistani youth, I would like to ask you that what kind of expectations do you have specifically with the youth, specifically with the Muslim Ummah, specifically with the Gen Z, who you are saying that they are going to decide the total intellect and total the warfare in the future?
Yeah. The expectation is simple. Do for us what you would do for yourself. Do for us what you would do for somebody in Lahore. Do for us what you would do for somebody in Pindi. Do for us what you would do for somebody in Peshawar. Do for us what you would do for somebody in Gaza. Do for us what you would do for somebody in Idlib, Syria. It's not a lot. All we want is your time. और वक्त के साथ वो थोड़ा वो दिलचस्पी भी
emotions,
exactly, you have the emotions.
Connection.
Study Kashmir. Understand it from the prism of Kashmiris, not from the prism of India-Pakistan war. Understand it from our perspective. Understand the human rights apocalypse, not atrocities, but an apocalypse that has happened inside Indian-occupied Kashmir. Understand what we have to face every single day. Understand what we've had to see. Understand the sacrifices every single Kashmiri has had to make. And then do something about it. I don't need you to go to Kashmir. I don't need you to make legal cases and frameworks. I don't need you to go to the UN. I just need your time. Give me your time and I will guarantee you that Kashmir will be liberated.
Inshallah.
Pakistan will flourish. That is it. Dekhe, when you study Kashmir, when I say that you have to study Kashmir, do you know what, do people understand? Look, it's not just कि 1 लाख लोग या 10 लाख लोग शहीद हुए हैं. ये बात नहीं है. बात यह है कि वो किस तरीके से शहीद हुए. मुझे एक बात याद है. I remember his name is Yawar. Yawar was hit in the head with a tear gas shell by the Indian army. अब वो paralyzed है. Mostly he's paralyzed. His body is paralyzed. उसका उठना बैठना बड़ा मुश्किल है. उसका हाथ वो चलता नहीं है. There is a video that I can show you. Maybe we can play this later. There is a video of him trying to pick up a chocolate bar with his hand and he's unable to do it. And he's trying to get his other hand. And his father saying, no, कोशिश तो कर लो. बंदा बात भी नहीं कर सकते, वो बाथरूम भी नहीं जा सकता है. लेकिन जब उसने चॉकलेट उठाया, the only thing that he still can do, the only thing, हाथ उठाकर कैसा कहता है आज़ादी. ये है हमारी हकीकत. आसिफा बानो 8 साल की बच्ची, 8 साल की बच्ची 7 दिन के लिए 7 हिंदुओं के साथ था. They kidnapped her, take her to the मंदिर. For 7 days they raped her by 7 men. ये काफ़ी नहीं था. फिर उन लोगों ने पत्थर के साथ उसको मारा. ये भी काफ़ी नहीं था. जब वो पकड़ गए हैं, there were protests in favor of the rapists कि इनको छोड़ दे, इन लोगों ने बड़ा अच्छा काम किया. ये हमारा 8 साल की आसिफा बानो. समीर राह बाहर चला गया, 2 रुपए हाथ में था, उसको टॉफी खरीदना था या कुछ करना था बाहर. हिंदुस्तान फौज ने उसको पकड़ाया. ये लाठी है ना, they put it in his throat so far back and so hard कि पीछे जो दांत है वो टूट गए. वो काफी नहीं था मेरे भाई. फिर उसके सर के साथ फुटबॉल की तरह खेल लिया. वो भी काफी नहीं था. फिर उसको गर्दन के ऊपर उन लोगों ने लात मारी और फिर वो शहीद हुआ. आप वो नासिर, 5 साल का नासिर, जो हिंदुस्तान फौज ने उठाया, इन हिज आई, जो सुई है ना, नीडल, उसकी आंख को पंक्चर किया. मेरे भाई वो काफी नहीं था उनके लिए. फिर they poured sand into his eyes. फिर दूर की बात, फिर मैं 90s की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, 80s की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं. I'm talking about in our lifetimes, in the last few years. पढ़ो कश्मीर के ऊपर, अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, क्योंकि आपको जवाब देना पड़ेगा. मुझे जवाब देना पड़ता है. किसी ना किसी दिन आई एम गोइंग टू स्पीक टू समबडी इनसाइड कश्मीर, किसी ना किसी दिन, और वो कहेंगे, वो पूछेंगे कि आप तो लक्जरी में रह रहे थे, यू वर लिविंग इन प्रिविलेज, क्या किया आपने आज तक. तो आखिरत में आई डोंट वांट टू फेस दोस पीपल.
I think they all gonna ask us that BIA Zambim Kotilat, that for what reason we have been killed. And I can still feel the emotions, the pain, which is bringing tears into my eyes, that these are the simple stories, 3 to 4 stories.
मैंने अभी शुरू भी नहीं किया.
But I really wonder that what has been happening since years, since ages, what pain you people are suffering. I can just send prayers, and on the behalf of Pakistani nation and Muslim youngsters, that I see as a symbol of hope, that they love you, they respect you a lot. Still there is a hope. There still a lot needs to be done, but we love you. We actually respect you. We see you as a symbol of resistance, commitment, dedication. I think these all words, we don't need to see them into dictionary. We see them into the people of Palestine, into the people of Kashmir, into the people of every part of the world, who are just suffering just because of the Muslim identity. And this Muslim identity tells me that Muslims are just like a single body. If an organ feels the pain, the whole body feels the pain. Any message, any point, any thought-provoking thing which you want to share at the last?
I think for the people of Pakistan, you don't know your own value. Living outside of Pakistan, I know that the Muslim countries, the Muslim states, and maybe now you realize it as well, that they've always expected Pakistan to be the umbrella for all the Muslim countries. कि ये हमारा, they will protect us. These are our protectors. और बड़ा फख्र है for a Pakistani to think that the people of Morocco, in Nigeria, in Dubai, all of these countries, they look towards Pakistan as our umbrella. अपने आप को मजबूत करो. Intellectually, obviously for the military, militarily, but intellectually you must become more rigorous in academia, in literature, in research, in IT, in all fields. कोई भी चीज ना छोड़े. Take over everything. Show the world what it actually means to be a Pakistan.
Inshallah.
Show them that they are nothing compared to the people of Pakistan. When Pakistan was formed, since day one, it has been at war with somebody or the other. It has been attacked by somebody or the other. And yet, it not only survives, it flourishes. Of course, Allah की मेहरबानी के साथ, लेकिन अवाम भी एक चीज़ है. आपको पता ही नहीं है कि आप कितने मजबूत हैं. आपको पता ही नहीं है कि आपको कितना अक्ल है. How this is an inspiration. Pakistan could be an inspiration for the rest of the Muslim world and beyond. Be that inspiration. Show the rest of the world what it means to be a Pakistani.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Last question. Can you please mention some resources, some reliable books, literature, any online platform from where we can learn about that what's happening in Kashmir, what's the history behind it, what's the pain, what's the suffering, what's the real facts and figures, and what things have been proposed in United Nations, how we can get accurate knowledge? This is the last question.
There were 2 reports made by the United Nations Human Rights Commission in 2018 and 19. That's a very important report that needs to be read. JKCCS, Jammu Kashmir Coalition of Civil Societies, that was run by Khurram Parvez, who is now in jail. He was part of the civil society collecting data and information about what has happened, the human rights atrocities inside Kashmir, documenting it all. Uske documentary ke saath uska natij kya nikla? He's in jail. Those reports are extremely important. Then you have Kashmir Media Service. Based in Pakistan, Kashmir Media Service is an essential media hub in regards to Kashmir. And then we have something that is being built, inshallah it will be completed soon, the Kashmir Center. Also a hub of knowledge, information, resources, and then lobbying in regards to Kashmir. So we have a few things out there. And of course, you must follow the relevant people that are out there. It's not just me. There are plenty of people that are committed to the correct narrative and the correct ideology of Kashmir and Pakistan. So be careful who you follow. Don't just follow somebody because they write something positive. Check their entire history. किसी को फजूल में उस्ताद मत बनाओ. Not even myself. Those are the things that you can find out. And once you start doing the research, there are many articles and news, especially from neutral sources, Al Jazeera, TRT, they're very friendly towards Kashmir, that produce a lot of information historically as well as current about the ongoings inside Kashmir. One of the most famous documentaries was made by Channel 4. Channel 4 made a documentary, and in it, one of the case studies, they mentioned about Qalandar. Qalandar ek bakarwal tha. He lived in the mountains. He used to look after his sheep. Usko koi lena dena nahi tha.
Shepherd.
He was a shepherd, exactly. Koi lena dena nahi tha Tehreek ke saath. The Indian army abducted him. They cut off his legs, both his legs. Bhai mera wo kafi nahi tha. Then they fed him his own flesh. They force-fed him his own flesh. This is a Channel 4 documentary. Ye hai hamare hakikat. You don't need to understand the geopolitical strategies of India and Pakistan and America and all these things. Usko chhod de. Sirf shuruaat kar lo with the history of Kashmir in its context of violations, of its human rights violations. Fir hum baki cheez ikatthe explore kar sakte hain. Maybe we can create an environment here. We can have in Pakistan, I think the other thing that the message to Pakistanis is create platforms where you can discuss Kashmir offline as well as online. Go to the universities, invite different
open mic forums.
Exactly. Let us talk about Kashmir. The beginning has to be, before you can lobby, before you even can speak, ilm hasil karo. Get that knowledge. Let us talk about it. Let us train each other in the not just the ongoings of Kashmir, but the ramifications of the international world order that exists today on Pakistan, on Kashmir, on India. Explore all of this together, inshallah, and then we can figure out a plan of action
Inshallah.
And lobby.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I am really glad to see you. And on the behalf of Pakistani nation, especially Pakistani youngsters, my all best wishes are for you. My all sincere prayers are for you, and I'm just letting you know that we are available on your single call if you need us at any platform. This podcast is one of the initiatives that we appreciate you, that we appreciate your presence here, and I'm really glad that you were here today. With this, I would like to conclude this podcast that अखुवत इसको कहते हैं चुभे कांटा जो काबुल में तो हिंदुस्तान का हर पीरो जवां बेताब हो जाए. Now this message needs to be spread in each and every Muslim country, in the whole Muslim Ummah. This message needs to be understood at each and every level, either government level, either public level, each and every level, that we need to reunite ourselves as a Muslim Ummah. कहीं भी कोई भी happening हो, कोई दर्द हो, तकलीफ हो, पूरी उम्मत मुस्लिमा उसको महसूस करे और इसी के साथ साथ उसकी एडवोकेसी पर, उसकी उस अपने मुसलमान भाइयों के हुकूक के तहफ़्फ़ुज़ के लिए काम कर सके। थैंक यू सो मच सर वंस अगेन, एंड थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन हु वॉच दिस पॉडकास्ट। जज़ाकल्लाहु खैरन कसीरा व हसन अल जज़ा। अस्सलामु अलैकुम।